Off to Ottawa tomorrow. Yeah, February the 4th. Yeah, heading out to Ottawa, Ontario to end legislated poverty for disabled Canadians. I'm joining with Jeff Leggat from Disability Action of Canada, along with Sonjia. She's going to be joining me too. So all three of us are going out there and getting our voices heard, hopefully, by members of Parliament if they decide to show up. Because I'm going to say, where are you? That's what the slogan is. Where are you? We're going to be here, but where are you? There's going to be press joining us too, and some other people that are going to be dropping in. So if you're in the area, drop in. We're going to talk more about that in just a few moments. Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Canadians with Disabilities and Their Allies, PWD Allies podcast. My name is Brent Frain. I'm the host, and today I'm going to be talking about the voyage out to Ottawa, Ontario on February the 4th. I almost said February the 5th, but February the 5th is when we're going to be joining, hopefully some members of Parliament if you decide to show up. Press are going to be there. And we're going to be having our voices heard. So loud and clear, no more poverty for disabled Canadians in Canada. There's no need for poverty in Canada anyway, but the Canada Disability Benefits, we've been waiting 5 years and nothing to see for it. So we're going to be going there and making the best of it and having our voices heard. Like I say, it's so important to end legislative poverty. Jeff Leggat from Disability Action of Canada, along with Sonjia and myself, are going to be joining him. And it's going to be the voyage. We're leaving tomorrow morning and to Victoria and flying out to Ottawa. And
He,
so
he was supposed to join today too, with you on today's podcast, but
yeah,
it's snowing quite a bit today.
it is.
Yeah,
It is really.
so
It's snowing in Victoria right now.
yeah.
Not too heavy right now, but it was this morning. It was coming down pretty heavy, and it's coming in pockets. The cells moving across the area, and it's really hard to forecast. But when the cells move through, then all of a sudden it clears out, and the sun comes out, and then clouds come back over again, and then boom, another band. It's supposed to be a heavy snowfall later today,
Yeah.
and tomorrow morning. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping no delays in tomorrow morning.
And I mean, Vancouver, and as well, I guess Victoria too. We haven't had any snow at all this year.
No.
And we thought, well, maybe we're not going to get any because I mean, it's we got to February and there's nothing.
Yeah,
And
Mother
so,
Nature
yeah,
decided to play the cards in her favor, and
yeah,
Victoria, between Nanaimo and Victoria, there's definitely going to be some snow coming. Possibly even in some localized areas, I heard up to 20 centimeters or plus.
hmm
And there's going to be some snow squall activity off the Strait of Georgia, which hopefully it doesn't stall because if it stalls off the coast and picks up that precipitation with the Arctic air coming in,
hmm
yeah, it's going to be very interesting, especially over the Malahat. So yeah.
hmm
We're looking forward to going out to Ottawa.
Before
Yeah,
you get there, Brent,
yeah.
because we're only going to be on for half an hour, but I just wanted to quickly mention something. It's kind of cool. Um, I have a friend from junior high and high school. Clint Grandy is his name, and I just kind of signed into YouTube today and found out that he is our first subscriber to our memberships. So he
Oh,
signed up for a Timbit membership, which is the low tier. I think it's $3 a month. So I don't know if he's gonna be on for a month or two, or maybe a whole year. But he's signed up right now for the Timbit membership of $3 a month. And so I just wanted to, if Clint is listening, I just wanted to say thank you, Clint. We go back a long ways, like from grade 8 and all through high school. And I remember sitting beside him in grade 8, and we would always talk about which girls had a crush on us and stuff like that. It was, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But I remember that you say so and so has a crush on you. I'm like, really? No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
I just remember that boys will be boys in grade 8, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of funny. But that's what I remember about Clint. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, Clint.
Thank you very much, Clint, for signing up, and anyone else who would like to sign up and do the same thing, that'd be awesome. That way you stay up to date on all the current events that are happening. There's going to be some breaking with Brent segments out in Ottawa when we're out there. Perhaps I might even do a live segment. I'm not sure what the agenda.
Yeah, I didn't know. Did you want to package it as a breaking with Brent or a travel one?
We can
breaking with Brent travel.
Yeah, we can maybe kind of make it unique. Yeah, breaking with Brent travel. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something a little bit different. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, it's going to be a lot of snow on the ground. The forecast says it's not going to be snowing when we're there, not during the daytime, but it's going to be very cold. So I've got my booties all ready, and winter jacket, my gloves and toque, and so I'll be all geared up for that. Check out the canal. The what do they call that? The what's the name of that canal, Sonjia? Oh, she doesn't know the name of it.
I don't even know,
yeah. Oh, that's
we're stupid here on the West Coast. We don't know anything.
Yeah. Goes to show what I know about Ottawa.
A big fat zero.
Zero.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be more than just zeros, though, in the Canada Disability Benefit when they do come out with that eventually. I'm not holding my breath on it. I know that the provinces were, and they were counting on the federal government to come out with that 5 years ago. Now we are 5 years.
Rideau Canal. Says Entertainment Wizard. Thank you. See, we have very smart people. We have very smart people that listen to our podcast, and it's always appreciated.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now I'm educated now. See, I learned from other people. Like I always say on the podcast, I learned from others, and that way when someone asks me, then I know. Yeah. So thank you very much on that.
I always love it that the people on YouTube here on the channel seem to be very educated and very, very with it, compared to some of the trash that you see on, I'm not saying it's all trash. I won't say that, but there's quite a bit of trash on Twitter Spaces in comparison. So it's always nice to have a few more brain cells over here on YouTube.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. And I'm showing my bias. Yeah.
Especially when I was just tongue tied, I'm going. I know the name of it, and it's just like, thank you for mentioning that. I'm gonna check that out. And there's some other just tourist sightseeing stuff that I'm gonna check out. Well, after we do our presentation, we're gonna have a booth set up there, right near the Parliament building. So we're going to have postcards set, and it's snowing out again in Victoria. Just started again. But we're going to have postcards.
I wonder if you're going to get delayed on the tarmac there, Brent.
Oh, that should be interesting. That'll be another breaking with Brent segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're sitting on the plane for 4 hours.
And where's the food?
We have peanuts.
Would you like a hot cup of coffee? Yes, please. It's here. I mean, hopefully it won't be cold. But I'm looking forward to it because we're going to have postcards out there to hand out to the Prime Minister's office. We're going to have maybe some hot chocolate for people to come by. Yeah, we're going to be all set. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. Definitely. So if you're in the area, if you're in the Ottawa area and you'd like to drop by and say hi, we're going to be there between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. on February the 5th. That's Wednesday, February 5th.
Did Jeff ever check in with Mike Morris to see if he was going to be in the area?
I think he has made some contacts with different members.
That'd be great to finally get to see him face to face. That'd be great.
Yeah. It would be nice if some of the members of Parliament would actually come out and actually say hi. We'd love to chat with you, just to hear your perspective of where do you see things at. I mean, I can tell you where I see things at, but I want to hear your perspective. And so, I mean, if you're in the Ottawa area and you have a chance to drop by, definitely let us know how you feel on how the federal government has treated Canadians with disabilities. And I include our allies because our allies are people who could have members of their family that have disabilities, or maybe they know people who have disabilities, or they want to stand in solidarity with us and change things for the better going forward. We live in a wealthy country. We should be able to take care of our own citizens, regardless on who they are, where they live in the country. I want to break down the barriers amongst the provinces, so that when a person who has a disability, who's on provincial assistance in that province, they can go to whatever province they want to go to in our beautiful country, and without having to reapply to see if they're still disabled. I mean, really, that is so archaic. It needs to be changed. I know with the tariff war, they call it, or terminology, whatever the politicians want to call that. There's trade wars within each province right now, like tariffs. Maybe trade war, but trade tariffs, and that's tax, right? So you get tax upon shipping goods and services from each province. Each province, they want to take that away. So if they want to take that away, why not take away the barrier for Canadians with disabilities in each province too? I mean, we're all one country. We shouldn't be divided. I mean, divide disabled against disabled, like I always say on my podcast, well, you can have cheap housing, but you choose to pay market rent. So, hey, suck it up, buttercup. I mean, on the old saying, well, how much can you keep sucking it up? Because once your rent keeps going higher and higher, and you don't get a rate increase by your provincial government, they go a year, skip a year, and then they say, oh, well, hey, but we raised rates so many years. Well, it's got to be predictable, right? So my suggestion, and I think a lot of people probably would echo that across the country, is tie the rates to inflation. I mean, it's not
for sure.
Automatically, like April 1st every year.
BC, they don't do it here,
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate. I mean, even Ontario is doing that. I mean, and they're under a conservative government.
Yeah.
If they can, I mean, if they can do it,
you talked about being able to cross over borders, provincial borders, and that our disabilities don't disappear. And I mean, you understand to some level why provinces have it the way they do. And on some level, you think, well, it's because they control all of the social services. So you get it, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's got to be something they can do to have this kind of just a general umbrella of like, okay, we know you have this disability, and it doesn't matter if you crossed the border into Alberta or Manitoba or whatever, I mean, because you know as well as I do that all levels of government like to brag how much information they know about us. Like they're saying, well, we know what you had for breakfast. We have all this information about you, and yet there doesn't seem to be that much coordination sometimes. It's like, they have all this information, but it's like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah.
Because as soon as I cross the border, it's like, who are you? We have no idea,
Hmm.
and it's just like, why? you know?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, it makes no logical sense that there should be any restrictions. I mean, a citizen is a citizen of the country. I mean, you can be a resident and a citizen of your province, but you're a citizen of Canada, and we need to be treating our fellow disabled citizens and seniors and people on low income with respect and dignity. Right? And nobody should be living below a poverty level. Um, I mean, there's lots of discussions or different views on how to get to like a basic income or a UBI or whatever it may be going forward. That I think, like Tom, basic income guy from Victoria, he talks a lot about this a lot, and different people we've had on the podcast in the past. Um, they have different ways of approaching about a basic income. Maybe that might be the solution in the long term. But in the meantime, I think to capture, I mean, anybody on low income on fixed incomes, I mean, it scares the hell out of me with these tariffs because,
Yeah.
I mean, where do people keep cutting back? I mean, you can only cut back so far. I've talked to Sonjia about this in the last few days. Like we hear about the incoming tariffs, and then there's counter tariffs back and forth. And when's it going to end? I mean, people's monies don't grow on trees. It's not disposable. And politicians tell people to shop local. Well, I'd love to shop local, but if you don't have the money, how do you shop local? Or if you get rid of your delivery service to deliver your food and your any items that you're ordering, I mean, now you're gonna be paying more for delivery service. So yeah, like where do you cut back? How do you survive? I mean, people are dying on our streets. Starvation, like people with disabilities, seniors. I mean, our veterans. I mean, because they don't have the proper income, to support their ongoing expenses. As we know, and when items go up in price, they never come back down. Maybe a little bit, but not rock bottom where they used to be. So that's a problem that we're going to see in the horizon. Not that I want to scare people on that, but I look back at just some decades ago, where I mean, your buying power, you could get a lot of things for $100. I mean, a fair amount, right? I mean, if you're frivolous on how you're shopping, coupons, and that's something that I'm going to dive into right now is ideas on shopping. Look for the bargains, everybody. Like look at the sales. If you have a smartphone, there's an app on your smartphone. I don't know if Android or the iPhone. iPhone has it. It's called the Flip app. So if you're familiar with the Flip app, definitely check it out because it does a price comparison of all the different stores in your geographical area. So your location services will pick up on that on your device. It'll tell you what stores in your area, and you click on it. And actually, there's certain retailers, certain ones, not all, but there are certain retailers that will actually do price comparison. So you don't have to go store to store. You can actually just use that, and you can save a lot of money overall in your grocery purchases. We've used it, and it's really helpful. Save on Foods in BC, they do honor that. There are certain stores that don't. Walmart Canada does not offer that, unfortunately. I have heard that there are certain Walmart stores that do. So maybe, if our listeners right now, while we're live, or even after, if you do know of any Walmart stores that are doing that, please, leave us a comment in the comments section, because I'm really curious on that. I'm going to do a little bit of more following up on that too. But it is helpful. There are online flyers. Definitely.
Inga says she didn't know about that app, and she says thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very useful. I didn't know about that app either until we were in a grocery store one day, and there was another lady that was in there, and she was so thoughtful and helpful. We were having trouble trying to find certain items, so she was helping us find items in the store, and then she told us about the Flip app. Well, wow. So we checked it out, and and it uses a circle. You put your hand on there, and boom, it circles the item automatically.
Wow.
And you put it into your kind of into your little list of items that you want, and then you just go to the checkout. If you're going to a self checkout, look for the person at the self checkout, and they'll help you with that. If you're going to a teller, just show them right on your screen what you have and the item that it's if it's
Please go to checkout 3.
Yeah.
Please go to checkout 5. Please go to checkout 1.
If you're at Save
I
on
love all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're at Save on Foods in British Columbia, definitely just show the teller that so if you're there and you see something from Walmart, just for instance, and I don't know, I'll just randomly pick something top of my head. If you're looking at no sugar added Smucker's jam, a strawberry jam, just for instance, okay, no sugar added, and it's on, say, Save on Foods wants a larger container, $5.47, and you see it for Walmart for $3.89 or whatever it is. Flip app, you show the cashier, they're going to give it to you for $3.89. Now that's a huge cost savings on that one item, right? Mm-hmm. So you start adding up all these different items, eggs, I mean, you name it, whatever it is, and even lettuce, some produce, sure. Mm-hmm. Especially with the produce prices are going to be going up, so you want to really bargain shop, and I really strongly suggest I don't get paid by Flip app, just so everybody knows that. I'm just saying from past experience, it's awesome, it's wonderful, it saves you a lot of money. Flip app is probably going to think, wow, this is awesome, thank you for promoting our app. I mean, if you want to be a sponsor of Flip app, I mean, yeah, reach out to Neil and I mean, yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, we do want to try to secure sponsors this year. I mean, you and I are only one person each, and it's hard to run a 2-person podcast, but we do our best, but I'm always trying to reach out and trying to get sponsors and stuff like that. That's why we're happy that when people like my friend Clint have signed up for the Timbit, it's nice. But talking about the tariffs, I just hope that it's not a long thing, because you don't want it to devolve into this pissing contest, that's and I think I said on the last podcast, like, there's no easy answer. I'm not trying to pretend that there's easy answers to this whole thing, because I think there's part of what Trump is doing. He's being a bit of an idiot, right? But I mean, you really have to, we have to be proactive on our side too. You can't just say, well, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna puff up my chest and I'm gonna do this, And like we said on the last podcast, like, Daniel Smith was the only one of all the premiers that was really kind of talking more sense of, like, whether you agree with Trump or not, like, let's try to be proactive and try to address some of the things that he's talking about. And if that doesn't work, then so be it. But I mean, don't try to inflame the issue and start, like, throwing mud back and forth. That won't help things.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody wants more tax. I mean, tariff is a tax, and there's no need for the tariffs. I mean, free trade agreement, right? I mean, that's what it should be. I mean, both countries, I mean, it's almost like we're a one big family, right? And Canada has always been there for the U.S. U.S. has always been there for Canada, back and forth. I mean, we got the wildfires that are raging in California. I mean, Canada sent down the military equipment and first responders, all the above. I mean, down there to help them. I mean, there was a lot of things that went on. I mean, when we had 9/11, same thing, right? I mean, we were there.
And you know what's ironic? I mean, we talked about this too off camera a couple of days ago. But when Trudeau went live the other day, he was actually good. Like, some of the times when he's talking, like, every time he moves his mouth, you're like, well, I don't know if I should trust what you're saying. But I mean,
Yeah.
he came across actually as a little bit sincere and humble and more kind of grounded and kind of quieter. Like, I think that's what it was. It was kind of a more subdued, quiet. Like, he wasn't like, like he.
I noticed that too.
It wasn't like this kind of what's the word? Bravado. I can't even say the word. But like, how sometimes he's like playing for theater, kind of thing.
Scripted, yeah.
And it was really more, I think the word I'm looking for is kind of a subdued. It was more subdued, a little bit more quiet, and just seemed more genuine. And I believed it. Like, I'm going like, this is the first time in a long time that I'm actually believing the words that are coming out of Trudeau's mouth. And it was kind of refreshing, like, and he was basically saying the same things, like Canada and U.S. are friends. We go back a long time.
Oh yeah.
And you really should look out for your friends.
Yeah, 100 years of basically just collaborating back and forth. I mean, in general, I mean, might be off by some years, but we've always got along with the U.S. I mean, it's not the U.S. citizens. It's basically the politicians that just need to kind of get on the right table and kind of work it out. Because, I mean, there's a lot of U.S. citizens that live in Canada, and there's a lot of Canadians that live in the U.S. Everyone's going, well, I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote for more tariffs. I mean, nobody wants tariffs, right? And people in Canada are going to suffer because of the tariffs. People in the U.S. are going to suffer because of the tariffs. And does it really have to be that way? No, absolutely. No, nobody has to suffer. And I'm glad that you mentioned about the word proactive, because I always talk about, well, when Canada goes into a recession, where PWD meaning persons with disabilities in Canada, we've already been in. We've been in a recession for decades. So this exacerbates it. This pushes it further into a deep recession, petering on depression, right? Hopefully that doesn't happen. And so what I always say, being proactive means that the government should already be taking care of their citizens financially, making sure that we're at no less than poverty level financial support. And that's what we're going to be going to Ottawa and getting our voices heard.
Yeah.
Because nobody should be living below a certain level, especially when you have a disability on top of that. So that financial poverty level, that's just a basic level, right? So with people who have disabilities, no fault of their own, you're born with it. You're going to develop more disabilities as you get older, and it's those costs actually exacerbate the actual poverty level. So if we can get up to that level and then build from that point, tie it to inflation, and then we can work with it from that point on. We want a commitment by provincial governments. We want a commitment by the federal government to commit to that promised CDB. Get it right, because you had it right, and then you flip-flopped on it, and you did a complete 360 on it, like 5 times over a 360 on it. Like you made it so bad that, I mean, I got people in my community saying, how can somebody screw up a CDB so bad and can't deliver it 5 years later? They're like, you don't have it? I go, no.
And I mean, already we've talked about basic income, and we've talked about the Canada Disability Benefit on even just in this half hour. And I think it's important to delineate the difference between basic income and the CDB. I mean, in a way, you can think of the CDB as a kind of packaged or repackaged, basic income, I guess. But I think what's important is, like, we have a lot of people that love the idea of a basic income. Tom being one for sure. There's lots, right?
Yeah.
And it is a great idea, but I think we all kind of know that anything that to do with the basic income, that's kind of a long way out. And when you have people like like Tom or MJ is another one, basic income proponent. All those discussions are good, but I think what's important to bear in mind is the idea that anything to do with the basic income is still a long way out. So a lot of the ideas of a basic income, you can borrow from them. Like there's a lot of great ideas that are tied to a basic income, and if you can borrow some of those and help like fortify the Canada Disability Benefit, in conjunction with that, I think that's great, because I think, just being a realist, I think if you want to be a realist, you have to kind of think, actual basic income is a long way off for if you really want to be honest about it. I think it's a long way off. But knowing that you have something like the CDB,
concrete,
that is concrete, that is out there, let's take some components of the basic income and tie it to the CDB and make the CDB better that way. And I think that for me, that's the whole reason why continuing the talk about basic income is a good idea, even if it's kind of a long way off pipe dream in a lot of ways.
Oh no, I agree on that, because you look at what the seniors supplement, the GIS, the Guaranteed Income Supplement that seniors get, and then they get their OAS, which is Old Age Security, and if they have CPP or any other pensions, you tie all those together. That's like almost like a basic income right there, and like we've got all the different items across Canada, like the different credits that people can get or they apply for when they do their income tax and they file it. You got the workers tax credit, you got your GST, you got child tax credit. So you got, there's so many of them. And those are all form of a basic income. So I think somehow going forward, to just tie some of these together and then form that like a miniature basic income and then grow from that. I love the idea about the CDB, tying some of these ideas to the CDB. We need to get that CDB back to way that it was originally supposed to get out there to people. And
because I really do think the original vision of the CDB was very much in the realm of a basic income. Like it really was like pretty much. That's the way
Then all of a sudden it just became a bait and switch type of deal as time went on with it, and it was just dragged it out. And as soon as I remember hearing about that when I used to do the Twitter space way back when, and we'd have discussions on that, and I started seeing a trend of like delay tactics. Oh, we got to have all these committee meetings. Oh, we got to talk to premiers, and like, all these excuses, delay. And I thought, okay, something is not right here. And Sonjia, you used to always say to me, I'll believe it when it's in my bank account. I'll believe it. I said, well, apparently they're working on it. Yeah, but they're not working fast enough on it. And I said, yeah, I agree with you. They're not working fast enough on it. I believe that the provinces, they really thought that the federal government was going to come through with this as a historic program for Canadians with disabilities. But the problem is that it was like egg in the face, right? Egg right in the face. It was a gut punch from the federal government to the premiers, because the federal government failed on the CDB. They didn't fulfill their agreement, their promised agreement with it. And so the provinces thought, well, they're going to do it. No, we don't have to do it. And now,
and again, we've talked about this before. That the whole Spider-Man meme of like the four Spider-Mans pointing at each other, right? Because we all know, again, it's the provinces that have always wanted from day one. The provinces have always wanted that autonomy to say, we want to have full control over the delivery of social development programs. Like, we want full autonomy, full control of social development programs. And guess what? They have it. And they've had it for, decades.
Oh, yes.
And now now they're pointing to the Fed saying, well, what are you doing? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
like it's somehow now it's their fault
Yeah,
when in reality
it's up to them
the
to take care of.
provinces have always had it. So
Yeah,
it just seems kind of ironic to me that now there's all this finger pointing going on when it,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, well, yeah, they don't want
again,
to
the provinces have always
take
wanted it that way, and now they're just kind of, you know, they're all pointing fingers at, like, why aren't you doing that? You
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, and if the
So
provinces would have been taking care of their own residents in the
yeah.
first place, then we wouldn't be in this situation because then the CDB would have been just a top up to that, right? So
Hmm.
you bring up to the poverty level in each province, and the CDB comes in. Now we know it's 5 years delayed, but I mean, yeah, go figure. That would have been a top up to the programs, and so that's just an excuse by the provinces to say, well, we don't have to deal with it. They're going to deal with it. But when? Well, that's a big question.
Supposedly it's going to come sometime in July, maybe, of this year.
Up to $200. The way that the
Yeah.
regulations are,
Maybe you might get it.
you might get up to $200 per household,
Yeah.
up to, pending if you qualify for it and all this other red tape BS.
It could be $20, Brent.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Well,
maybe
it'd be enough
$20.
to get maybe a family-sized pack of Timbits, 50 pack, and maybe some coffees. Call it a day, and
Yeah.
yeah, we can have a Timbit party.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll
Anyway,
be
we've been on for a little over a half hour. I didn't know if we
yeah.
wanted to call it a day.
Sure, I'm just going to wrap it up. So again, Jeff and Sonjia and myself are flying out to Ottawa, Ontario, and we're leaving tomorrow down on the 4th of February. And so we're going to be there on February the 5th in front of the Parliament building. So join us between 11 and 1, and we're going to have some stuff to hand out, and just drop by to say hi. Chat with us. Let us know your thoughts about the CDB.
And we
And
always end the podcast now saying, buy us a coffee. Well, now people can actually buy you a coffee in person if they want to swing by.
they could, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they could buy all three of us a coffee and
There
say
you
thank
go.
you for all your advocacy. I mean, if that's what you want to do, and if not, I mean, drop by and just support us, as brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, as an ally. Let's come together and work together and make this a beautiful province financially for Canadians with disabilities. Just show your support by just showing by, just drop by, say hi. I mean, like I say, let us know what your thoughts about the Canada Disability Benefit, how the federal government has treated us so far. 5 years waiting. Let us know your thoughts about the provinces too.
Let us know your thoughts how the provinces have treated us for the last 30 years or more.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
there are certain provinces that will keep rates on, even Ontario, just for instance. I mean, OW. Joseph was talking about this the other day. I saw his post on X, on Twitter. I mean, wow. I mean, I didn't know that, Joseph, that it was that long. 7 years. 7 years, OW has not had a rate increase. Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Come on,
That's
Doug.
nuts.
Like, I mean, whoever your MPP is there. I mean, really? And what is the opposition going to be doing? I think the NDP is the opposition there. What are you doing for? I mean, rather than talk, like, actually hold the current government accountable. I know that they're not going to be having an election in Ontario, but again, put that in your platform. Hold your elected representative, who you're voting for. Ask them, what are you going to do for me as a person with disabilities in my province? So if I was in Ontario, that's what I would say. What are you going to do for me? Why should I vote for you? Like, are you going to represent my needs and bring me up to no less than the poverty level? And just say yes or no, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be any less than that. And that goes with every province. When you have an election, hold your representatives accountable. If you're in BC or any province that has just an MLA, I know certain provinces have MPPs, and then it gets confusing. MLAs, MPPs, MPs are federal, whatever jurisdiction it is. When it comes to voting time, make your voices heard, because the politicians in general, from what I hear, they are hoping that people with disabilities don't show up to vote, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we need our voices to be heard across the board, because we got nurses, doctors, other practitioners. I mean, you name it, school trustees, you name it, other union representatives, any person from a walk of life as an ally, people with disabilities. I mean, you're looking at millions and millions of people. I mean, millions of people. So if we can all come together and actually have our voices heard, I think we could change the outcome of elections quite easily.
When it comes to the actions of politicians, whether it's federal or provincial, I always like to fall back on the wisdom of Yoda from Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Do or do not. There is no try. Like
Yeah.
all this like there's more work to do. Well, just do it. Like, do or do not. Like, just decide. Like, just do it or don't do it. But don't say, well, we're gonna try to do it. Get the word try out of your vocabulary. Just say,
always,
you know what, we're gonna do it. Yeah.
I always find it's just a delay tactic. It's an excuse of saying, or there's that famous line, "There's more to do." There's
more to do is another try.
That's like dragging
We'll try, but there's more to do. So we'll try to do it.
Well, we'll try better next time. Oh, we messed up, but we'll try better next time. Sorry about that.
If Yoda was around, he'd slap you across the face. There's do or do not. There's no try.
Yeah. Definitely gonna be some breaking with Brent segments.
The reason why we did this podcast is to get people aware that there's going to be some breaking with Brent's. So it's going to be sort of a travel segment maybe, and hopefully you can get the footage to me in a timely manner. I know last time the footage was a little bit dicey. It took a while to get for me.
Yeah, there was no transmission along the way.
but if you get the footage to me in a timely manner, I'll try to put it together and release it in a relatively expeditious way, and
I'll have Sonjia recording me here.
And then hopefully people can follow along with the journey. That'll be fun.
I tell you, really enjoying the feedback that I'll have on it. Like I say, people could actually be in the same boat. Being on government assistance. Hopefully not. I mean, I really hope not. I mean that nobody ends up being on disability assistance. Because really it's legislated poverty. We need to change that. Get that word. We need to get that word out of the vocabulary from the politicians. I know that they've basically talked about that a lot, the legislated poverty, and I thought, wow, they're actually saying that. Like, wow. I mean, why? Like, nobody should be in legislated poverty. Like, poverty should not exist. So that has to change, and that kind of goes with the BC government. Like, they got the Ministry of Social Development and Poverty Reduction. Why don't we just call it Ministry of Social Services like it was once upon a time?
Don't even bother. Get rid of that. Get rid of the poverty reduction, because you're making a joke. You're making a joke of it now. Really, honestly.
I've actually heard from former members of Parliament and former ministers who were in the legislature decades ago. I mean, some of my neighbors, and they even said the same thing. Why are they calling it poverty reduction? Because if that was the case, it would already be eliminated. I go, exactly. Yeah. So that's actually word from actually members of Parliament and former MLAs, folks. BC, if you're watching this, please change the name. Let's work together. We've actually, Jeff, Sonjia, and myself, we've sat down with the minister. We've given you guidelines of ideas of how to reach that goal. Okay, so let's work together. Let's make things better for people, because, I mean, cost of living is not going to get any better going forward. And like I say at the beginning of the podcast, people can only cut back so far. You should not have to choose between paying your bills, buying your food. I mean, food costs, it goes higher and higher. And what do you buy? Processed food? I mean, it's not good for you to eat too much of that stuff. Actually, it's probably not good to eat at all. But I eat some of it too, right? Still, you have to pick and choose. Eventually, it gets to a point where, what do? Cut back on your rent? Okay, say to the landlord, I'm sorry, can I cut back on my rent because it's too high? you know what's going to happen then? They say, there's the, here, put your keys on the counter, walk away.
Yeah.
And then what? Oh, then you're going to say, oh, well, I got more to live on now because I don't have to pay rent. Well, now you're in the freezing cold. And that's not a good situation. So let's keep people housed. Let's raise the rates up to a standard. Don't wait. If the federal government's tiptoeing around, we got an election that's going to be happening very soon. There might be an emergency fund. I'm not holding my breath on that. Again, they haven't mentioned anybody with disabilities in it. Even if they do come out with something,
just assume that it won't happen, Brent.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a CERB 2.0 maybe, but they're being really reluctant about doing that because I think they're waiting on what Trump's going to be his decision or going to be with Justin Trudeau, and they're based upon that. Some members of Parliament was asked, well, why don't you just recall the Parliament right now and let's get the funds out to help people? But it's going to be for the working class and businesses. What about PWD? What about seniors? What about people on low income, like fixed incomes? There's no discussion. Jagmeet Singh, the message for you, sir. Put some pressure on Justin Trudeau. Let's get that CDB happening. If you do come out with a package deal for,
we put him on the thumbnail. We put him on the thumbnail today.
So yeah, I mean, and Pierre Poilievre, same thing. Like, I mean, if there's a deal for workers in Canada or businesses, what about PWD? So I want to see that CDB happening, and if you're putting a new package out to help people with the cost of living, so you're going to prorate that back to that CDB way back 5 years ago, and also include a new package for Canadians with disabilities too, or do we have to wait 5 more years for that to happen too? I mean, please, like, people are hurting, they're suffering right now. I'm not trying to speak on behalf of all PWD, but I'm echoing the voices that can't be heard. I have people that do want to come on the podcast, but they're really shy, and they're scared because they feel that their voices won't be heard. So I'm using their voice, bringing it forward, and they thank me for doing that. So I just want people to understand that when I say these things, it's not just coming from me. Some of it is, but some of it's coming from other people, and I'm channeling their voices forward. And that's why I encourage people, if you are in the Ottawa area on February the 5th, come and join Jeff, Sonjia, and I at the Parliament buildings outside. We're going to have a tent set up. We're going to have a booth set up. We're going to have postcards sent to the Prime Minister, and they're postage paid, just so you know. There's no stamp required. So you just fill it out, and you could just put your first initial, last initial, whatever, and that's fine. You don't have to put your full name. It's no big deal there. And it's going to go right to his office. So we are going to be loud and proud. I hope that the weather is going to cooperate, and it's going to be chilly, but I'm going to be bundled up and say some hot chocolate, hot cup of coffee. It's going to cool down pretty quick, I'm sure, out there. So I'll have an iced coffee. Yeah. Thanks, everyone. I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. Please subscribe to the channel, like and just share the hell out of it. Buy us a cup of coffee by clicking that like button down there. And if you want to subscribe to the, like Neil explained, I'll get Neil to explain before we end the show here. But first of all, I want to say thanks for everyone for tuning in today.
Yeah, it's just the memberships. We have memberships, and I'm not really saying too much about it because we know that people can't afford them. I mean, I just put them together for fun, for kind of funsies, and we have memberships of the Timbit, and my friend Clint just signed up for the Timbit monthly thing of $3 a month, and then there's the Apple Fritter one, and I think it's $5 a month, and there's 2 other, and the top one is, what did we say? The top one is the Bublé.
Oh, yes.
and I think that one is $29 a month or something. That's the high tier one, and that's reserved for people like Michael Bublé if they want to support the channel, they can do that at $30 a month.
There you go, Michael Bublé.
So I created a category just specifically for him. So if he wants to give us the $30 a month, and trust me, Brent, I'm always.
I'd love to have Michael on the show, on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm always trying. I'm always trying to bug him and trying to get him on. But I would love to kind of hear his story of his family, and
Me
like
too.
we've said before, like he's got a son that had the child, what do they call that, pediatric cancer, and
Yes.
and I would just love to hear that side of things. So I think he understands. I think he understands, what it means to have, to have something, a health emergency come upon your life. And I mean, he's well off. Like, this is a guy that's got a crap load of money, but like,
it can change so quickly.
yeah,
Money can't buy everything.
It doesn't matter. Like, the chips are going to fall where they may, and whether you're really well off or not, health emergencies can happen to anybody. And so that's why I really think that he's a very powerful person in a lot of ways, because of course, but I just think he's got a really, really powerful message too. And so I hope at some point he can come on and share his story about that.
That would be wonderful. That would be totally wonderful. Yeah. So
we just had Ellen donate another $6.99, $7. Thank you, Ellen.
So thanks, Ellen.
We got the donation train going just as we're about to sign off. So thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, Ellen, it's just a message for you, Ellen. I hear you. I see you. Just to let you know that when you're down and out, just reach out. Okay. I mean, I don't always respond to messages right away. If someone's feeling down and out like that, just reach out to whoever you can. I mean, it's like I say, I check my social media as much as I can. Some days I'm more active on it, other days I'm not. It just depends on what I'm doing in life. Besides podcasts in between, maybe enjoying some Breaking with Brent segments, watching snowflakes, and it's snowing out again pretty good again. So yeah.
Winter, spring, summer, or fall.
Yeah.
All you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You got a friend. Oh yeah, you got a friend. We got to go punch out, Brent.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.